Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, ladies and gentlemen, and all in between, and welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante, part 4 of our clergy playthrough. So when we last left off, we've just entered into adolescence. We are now 8 years old, still a lowborn, we're growing up, we haven't died any deaths yet, and we are just starting off with our new skills. So this episode we're going to continue on, and also I might show off some of the new panels we've unlocked. We've got the map of the Empire, which has nice bits and pieces of info and lore about all the places in the province and in the Empire that I'll go through either in this video or the next, as well as give you an overview of the province. So let's do this one now while we're already here. So we've got the province, which describes the state of affairs in our native province of Magla, the structure of society, the political climate, the power of the church, and the sentiment of the people. These factors can change as a result of key historical events, but your actions can also become part of history and bring change to the province and then to the empire as a whole. So currently we have overseer Archduke Melanandas, who is the supreme lord in the province of our birth. He's known for being obstinate and despotic, and he's notorious even among the Arcanians. We've got our patriarch as Photis, so he's the patriarch of the Magul province and founder of the new faith. So as you remember, there's currently a battle between the churches of the old faith, who believe we need to stick to our lots, our assigned path at birth, or the new faith who want us to think the lots are a later construction and not true to the actual teachings of the twins. So Patriarch Photis was the first to defy the lots established in the teachings of Isatius. He encouraged people to find the twin gods within and says that everyone is equal in the twins' eyes. So I think for my clergy playthrough, I'm going to be a new faith exemplar. So currently the overseer is in power, although we can switch to the old nobility being in power or going all the way to the commoners in power. And going all the way to the reign of terror, a bit like it had in France in our own history. We've got the fall of the new faith, which is actually, we're only one away from that. Or we've got a schism or fall of the old faith. The wealth of Magra is good, we're secure, we're not affluent, but we could be. And peace is within the realm, and quite close. We've got two on either side to triumph of the law or falling a bit away. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. So as a reminder of the kind of playthrough I want to do, I don't care about the reputation of my family. I'm not going to be a noble. We've got Father and Stefan to worry about that. I'm going to focus on our family, our unity, is what's more important to me. And try and get a bit of wealth if we can, but unity is where we want to be. I want to try and get us into peace or even harmony. So let's move on and see what happens. The Boy Down the Street, Chapter 2, Year 1126. The family expects more and more of you as you grow up. The teachers and tutors hired by your father keep you on your toes all the time. Your life these days is dedicated to studying for your future, for the future of the Brante family. Your younger brother Nathan keeps growing up too. He can hold a conversation now. You never refuse him when he comes to play, provided you have a bit of free time between your demanding lessons. It is a rainy day today. Father and mother have gone to a ball and they left Nathan in your care. You lose track of time over the books in the sitting room and Nathan goes off alone to splash in the creek. Soon you hear his voice begging you to come outside. He is on the porch, sobbing, all covered in dirt. You walk up to him as he continues to bawl. It's all that kid. He pushed me into the dirt and called me names. He said I was a fancy pants fool. I said I'll call my brother. He's still there. You have to go punish him, Jordan. Nathan points at a lopsided wooden house further down the street where the poorer artisans live. You see two boys lingering there on the porch. They are clearly both commoners, but far from poor. One of them is almost as tall as Nathan, and he frowns in a funny way, just like him. The other looks older, almost your age, but he is more broad-shouldered and taller. His name is Tomas. You've heard it before. There, Jordan, that's him. Nathan points at the younger boy and hides behind your back. Tomas grins and rolls up his sleeves to reveal strong forearms. He must have been helping his father with manual labor for quite some time. Listen up, rich boy. We don't give a damn about you or your friendship. We don't let nobody call our home a stinking rat hole. Your little brother earned his dive ditch. Maybe next time he'll dress normal and stop picking fights with people who can throw him in the mud. Interesting. We can't listen to our brother first anyway, because he's not grateful. So your hands clench into fists before you react. Nathan calls them names first. No wonder they did the same. That's how it goes. But pushing your little brother into a ditch is too much. Tomas stands tall and confident. He sees no threat in you. You are about to get ready for a fight when you feel a tug on your sleeve. You turn your head to see Nathan, the one who started the whole mess. So we can come at Thomas and give him a beating, which will make Tomas like us and increase our nobility. We can say our brother is to blame, which is Tomas will like us and give us ingenuity, or we can resolve the matter peacefully, which will give us both relationship and spirituality. So because we're obviously aiming for spirituality, let's resolve this matter peacefully. In my noble playthrough, I tried to beat the crap out of him, and that actually went quite well. We became good friends as well, but let's resolve the matter peacefully. This quarrel can be resolved peacefully. You turn to Tomas and offer to solve the problem like adults. His brother will apologize to Nathan, and Nathan will apologize to him in return. There is no need to fight anymore, and you will give Nathan a piece of your mind when you get home. You and Tomas are all grown up and should act your age, you say. The important thing is, when we get to be clergy, we have 2 new skills, which is theology and eloquence, and they're based on our determination plus spirituality and perception plus spirituality. So our determination is quite low, it's only 4. I would have liked it to be 5 or 6. But perception is, I think, 7. So if we can get spirituality to about 7 or 8, we'll be looking at 14, 15 for both skills, which is really, really good. Sorry, a bit of a tangent. The blood rushes to Tomas's face when he hears this. Act our age, you say. Are you calling me a baby? You better shut your trap. This is all he says before he attacks. You barely dodge a fist flying at your face. You start trading blows, huffing and puffing with rage. The younger brothers gawk in awe at the sight. Tomas does not resort to fancy moves, dirty tricks or stupid taunts. He displays nothing but skill earned in many a street fight, and his heavy fists aim for your head. You keep dodging him again and again, trying to reach him. He takes a couple of glancing blows, but easily shakes them off. What a bruiser. You start swinging your fists with greater and greater fury. Your heart is pounding like a hammer. You see nothing but the foe in front of you. How much longer will this take? You're worn out, your breath goes ragged, and your muscles grow heavy. But there is no way you can give up now. Nathan is watching you. Desperate and out of options, you swing and punch Tomas square in the nose, then immediately let his fist smack you in the temple. The blow rings through your head like a bell and blinds you for a moment. The world swims before your eyes. You clutch at your head to get your bearings. Tomas is standing in front of you, blood dripping from his nose. You no longer want to fight it out, and it seems your opponent would rather end it too. But you keep standing there, eyeing each other angrily. Then suddenly you hear an angry shout right next to you. An enraged man in a craftsman's apron is shaking his fist. Tomas's face contorts in terror right away. It's my father, run! The punishment for fighting is flogging, and the mere prospect of this makes you run like the wind. Tomas sprints in front of you. You dash across the rotten wooden planks of the back alley, up and over a lopsided fence, across a giant puddle in one leap, and then forward into the tall grass. You hide there and stay quiet. You hear no sounds of pursuit. You exchange glances with Tomas and start laughing. His laugh is loud and infectious, but soon he cuts it short and grows sadder. Ugh, I'm gonna get flogged anyways. My dad's always quick to give me a beating, and then he'll start nagging me about the lots and the prayers for days like he always does. Why do I always get myself mixed up in this stuff? But fighting's the only way to prove you're worth anything, right? The adults didn't see you fighting, you tell him, so all you have to do now is to convince them you weren't. Nosebleeds happen, right? Mother gets nosebleeds all the time. Well, we could try it. Let's hope our little brothers don't tell on us. I'll talk to mine. There's a scratch on your head, don't let them see it. Good thing I didn't hit you in the face. There, good as new. You assure him that Nathan will never tell, and in return you'll make sure he behaves himself so he won't get tossed into a ditch again. With that, you shake hands with Tomas. His handshake is as strong as you would expect based on his fists. You make your way out of the tall grass. You need to leave before Tomas's father goes to your family and complains about you breaking your law. You come to a realization on the way back. You had no idea the place where you were hiding even existed, and it wasn't too far from home. Tomas smiles in excitement when he hears this. Oh, I don't know, lots of places like that. I'll tell you what, if we get out of this mess today, I'll show you the way to the old fortress wall. It's a perfect place to build your own fort. I dragged a bunch of wooden planks there. Too bad it's no fun to build all alone. My brother never helps. He just gets in the way. So Tomas likes this, which is good. You emerge from the muddy back alleys united by a secret only the 2 of you know. It seems you've made a friend today. And spirituality has gone up. 1 more on researcher. There's two events I want to get in this chapter that are nobility 4 and spirituality 4, so we can work on that. I'm working towards that. You have made a friend, a boy named Tomas. (1127), 9 years of age. We're still actually quite young. I keep forgetting that. I keep imagining we're like 15, 16, but we're only on the cusp of adolescence. Riders on the road. It is blistering hot today, even for the sun-parched land of Magra. As soon as you are done with your studies, you dash outdoors and out of the stuffy room. You and Tomas roll up your shirt sleeves, but it barely helps. You would gladly go shirtless had you only been in the company of other boys. But there are 3 girls in the yard today. They are doing the laundry in a big wash tub, whispering and giggling. If you could, you would gladly keep watching one of them at work. She has big eyes of deep blue. Her dark hair is braided and her plain grey dress is mended and patched all over. Her name is Sophia. She throws her head back a little when she laughs. The rays of the sun are reflected in her eyes. You, Tomas, and the other boys keep telling silly stories, anything to make her laugh. You sure love telling tall tales, Jordan. Oh, I remember this one time. But then Sophia hears a voice calling her home. She nods to you and runs across the street, smiling. Her light steps carry her forward, but her eyes are looking elsewhere. But then a stone on the road catches her foot. She stumbles and falls flat into the dust. The street starts shaking from the thundering of hooves. Riders appear on the road from around the corner. They bear a coat of arms you recognize right away, a sable serpent blade upon the field of vert. It symbolizes the Melanindas dynasty, the family of your province's archduke. The horses dash forward. A lost wooden toy on the road cracks under their hooves. They will not slow down. They are the nobles, and the rest must make way for them. Sophia is in their way. Just now, starting to get back on her feet. Her mother is crying for her desperately from behind the French door. You freeze in terror. The riders surely see the girl. Are they going to stop? Or are they going to trample her? In only a few moments, a beautiful girl will be toppled, trampled, and crushed. We can stay where we are, and she dies her first death. Or we can save her and get a boost to everything, except for willpower. We're going to shield Sophia, because it's absolutely worth it for a +1 in everything. You throw yourself blindly into the road, swinging your arms wildly. Dazed by the sound of the thundering hooves, you can see nothing in the dust. For a brief moment the horses slow down, just long enough for Sophia to get back on her feet and flee to the roadside, but then the riders dig their spurs in. Dozens of hooves knock you off your feet and roll across your body. Your bones crack, break and crumble. Your ears are ripped apart by the thundering rhythm of the ride. Your innards are pulverized. The last thing you remember is the sound of your own skull caving in. And congratulations, we've died our first death. You fall into a pain that embraces you like a soft feather bed. You feel light, free. There are no restraints, just a warm glow that envelops you in its secure embrace. The waves carry you. Their touch is soft. They delicately enshroud what was once your body. It is a feeling unlike anything you have ever experienced before, something absolute and complete. You touch something greater, the reason behind everything, the reason for your very existence. You were sculpted from this light. It was the first thing you ever felt, a boundless and sincere unity of the diverse. Your beginning was a spark that cast its light in all directions, and now you are here again, one with the beginning of everything. The light gleaming from you resembles the light of the shining pillar. You see it, in the north as always. The waves of light carry you to 2 figures. The elder is nearest. He is ready to accept you. He is quiet, wise, kind, and pure. The younger waits further back. You do not know what he is yet. The wave pauses at the elder's feet. He leans over you and places a feather-like kiss on your forehead. The kiss spreads all over you. You are filled with an unparalleled delight and bliss. You exist. You are unique. There is no one else like you. They know this, and they love you. You will never be alone. You are a part of them, a part of your family, a part of this universe. The twin gods will never leave you. They watch over you constantly. The elder softly touches you as you lie spread out amongst the waves, sending you further down the torrent of light. You float on to the top of the silver tree's spreading crown. The closer you get to the silver tree, the heavier you become. The waves draw you down along its trunk, but you do not wish to part with the warmth and softness, with the love. You turn around. The elder is still watching you. He nods. All is as it should be. Go. Your time has not come. You must return to the world now. As you tumble down toward your body, you comprehend the true meaning of your lesser death and divine lore that has been revealed to you. Love exists not only in the hereafter, it is present in the entire design of the twins. That is the origin of all life in this world. What is the manifestation of love in your mortal life? Is it empire? By creating the empire, the twin gods cared for all living creatures. The empire is the only thing that gives us a place in the world and a connection to others. It is an enormous family, made for people by the gods. Is it our lot? The gods gave you a clear mission in this world, thus gifting you your every being. This is the manifestation of their love for you and all living beings. Is it family? Love always lives in kindred blood. You share the miracle of life and the universe with your kin. Your family is what you are given upon being born, and what you leave behind when you depart. Is it cause? The love the gods have for you is so great that they allow you to change the world they have created, to influence it with your deeds. Whatever your mission is, it is proof of the twin gods' love for you. Is it myself? What could be a stronger manifestation of love than your very existence? Your every emotion, every thought, every action exists by the virtue of the love from which the twin gods created you. I'm going to either say my family or myself or cause. I mean, for this character, he would probably say... I mean, he's the new fate, so he wouldn't say a lot. I think cause. A sudden comprehension of the love with which the entire world is imbued illuminates your mind, but then it fades away and vanishes. You regain the sensation of your flesh. It is heavy and unwieldy. It lacks the lightness. That light, it is a burden. It is smothering you. You gasp for air. Your chest expands painfully. You feel as though your lungs are about to burst. The stagnant odor of the crypt fills them, revolting, but so real. You are back. The first of a few deaths I'm sure we might have. Then you can feel again. You sense your body, head, arms, and legs. The light fades around you, obedient before a will that is stronger than you. You return to the world. Such is the law of the twins. You will return to the world until the time of your true death, and in this world you will have a body with which to feel pain and suffering and pleasure. You smell a sickly, moist odor. You open your eyes and see the figures of mother and father in the gloom of the family crypt, speaking to each other quietly. They stop as soon as they hear you gasp. Mother runs to you and locks you in an embrace as father wraps you in his cloak. Neither of them says a word as they lead you out of the surface and back home. You've met a terrible end, my son. You were trampled by those horses. Don't be so careless ever again. The lives you were granted by the twin gods are not to be wasted so recklessly. You would be punished for this, but the twins have already meted out their punishment. You tremble, your steps unsteady as you learn how to move again. Your body is eerily smooth, fresh and renewed. Even the recent scars and scratches are all gone, but there is something new on it, a fresh black mark, a reminder of your lesser death beneath those hooves. Remember that, by the twins' mercy, we are all given enough time in this world. Should you die before your time, you will be brought back by their grace. For 3 times, they will rescue you from a terrible fate, but the 4th death is true and final for all. Every loss of a life we were granted at our birth is a heavy blow to us, but the gods told us not to mourn a lesser death, and so we humbly accept this and move on. See, your body has been reborn anew, with all your wounds healed. Do not mourn your loss of life, my son, but thank the twin gods for their justice. Do not speak of this, and do not ever play by the road again if you wish to keep on living. You cautiously go back outside the next day. Children from the neighborhood surround you. They all saw you get trampled, and now they all ask you the same question. What was it like to die? Tomas rescues you from their pestering. He pushes the motley crew aside, hugs you, and pats you on the back. Look at you, buddy. You gave an entire life to keep a girl safe. And then you see Sophia. She is standing nearby, shyly working up the courage to walk over to you. Soon she finally approaches you and begins speaking rapidly. Jordan, why did you throw yourself in front of these horses? My life isn't worth any more than yours, so why do you think that? You weren't supposed to die there. It was all those riders' fault. They deserve to die, not you. Her voice rises to a shriek. She suddenly stops and runs back home. You stay where you are, watching her run, the golden rays of the sun dancing her braided hair. So great that she likes us. Willpower has gone down to 0, which is okay. We can still act if we need to in the future, but it'd be good to get that sorted. Spirituality's gone up, ingenuity's gone up, and so has nobility, which is great. It is worth that death. Always is, I believe. And this event comes in handy later on. So we saved Sophia. You saved a local girl named Sophia from lesser death. We want to keep an eye on our willpower though. $11.28, 10 years of age. It's important to keep an eye on those events because they do come in handy for relationships later on. Fall, soil and gunpowder. Sophia disappeared after the terrible incident with the horses. Her friends gossiped that her parents sent her off to serve a rich noble dynasty. You haven't seen each other since that day, but you still remember Sophia's eyes, the sunlight shining in them. But no matter what, life goes on. You are 10 years old now, your studies continue and you are learning more about the land you live in. Anisot is an ancient city in an imperial province by the name of Magla. All soil in Magla was turned to ash eons ago, scorched by magic during the rebellion of Duke Charmilindas. The magic arts are all but gone now, but the scorched earth has remained barren and infertile ever since. Since then, the entire province is laid barren, tormented by cold and scorching winds in equal measure, with few precious plants taking root on their own. All fertile land in Magla is brought elsewhere and brought here by an endless caravan of carts and carriages. To pay for food and soil, the cities of Magla became skilled in many trades, primarily mining and digging for metals and stone. The last fall, there was an explosion just outside the city, followed by clouds of thick smoke. The first such incident frightened the citizens, but then explosions and smoke became an everyday occurrence. Soon everyone grew used to it. Father explains that the miners are using a new invention called gunpowder. It makes it easier for them to reach the precious stones and metals buried deep within the earth. Then one day, a thunderous explosion rocks the city and black, billowing smoke covers the houses. People are stuck in their homes, all windows tightly shut. The air is impossible to breathe. Nathan coughs all the time. Gloria and you cough only when nobody is watching. If Mother hears it, she'll make you inhale those hot, horrible vapors just like Nathan. It takes 2 days for the black smoke to disperse. People pour out onto the street to meet their friends. Tomas is eager to share everything he knows about the incident with you. They took lots of burned up people to the city temple. Mom told me she was helping the healers. There are many rumours. Some claim it was the work of a beast stirred from its slumber. Others say it is the surviving witches that continue to threaten the Order and the Empire with their cursed powers. But as for you, you wait patiently for Father to come back home, and then you'll ask him about it. Father spends day and night working at the prefecture, while Mother spends all her time in prayer. It takes a full week for Father to finally come home, and he's almost completely spent. You muster up enough courage during dinner to ask him what happened outside the city. Father raises his head, his face a bleak, weary mask, and starts muttering his proclamation. It's almost as if he doesn't see you. It's the mine outside the city. They were trying to get to a vein of ore. There was an explosion, the mine caved in, and the black smoke started flowing. Many workers died there. It was all because Count El Velasco, who owns the mine, wanted them to start mining that vein before they were ready. Some of the workers weren't even reborn. Perhaps the twins thought their final time had come. The prefecture had been inundated with complaints from families that they have lost their breadwinners, asking the judges for help. Many people also lost their cattle to the black smoke. Count El Velasco blames gunpowder for the disaster. The prefecture and the newspapers just repeat whatever he says. But it's plain old greed and tyranny of the noblemen that are to blame. Why the welfare of that province is always paid with the commoners' lives. Then, without warning, he grows silent again. You keep thinking about it for days. Can a human life really end so easily? A single moment of bad luck and you die, only to re-emerge from the temple of the family crypt with a new black mark on your arm. Or worse, you remain where you fell, dead, never to be reborn again, ever. So the wealth of Magra has gone up with the use of gunpowder, but order has gone down. We're still at peace, but discontent is on its way. $11.28, Stefan's arrival. During lunch, Father tells you to stay home in the evening and prepare to meet some important guests. Your elder brother Stefan will return home by dinner tonight. Joining him will be your grandfather, Gregor Brante, as well as a noble friend of the family. You're excited about your brother's return. It's been years since you last saw him. How has he changed during his years away from home? You and Father await the guests anxiously. The doorbell rings. 3 people are standing outside. Grandfather is the first to come in, naturally. He has not changed a bit since his last visit, still eyeing the house with contempt, looking for any reason to demean it. Grandfather is followed by a stately young man dressed in a jacket embroidered in silver, whom you barely recognize as your brother. Stefan casts a glance at your threadbare clothes, your dirty fingernails, and smirks. The last to enter the house is a personable gentleman with a worn-out, wrinkled face. You've heard a lot about this man from father and grandfather. He is Baron Augustin Elborn, Stefan's uncle, a family friend and the province's prefect, which means that he is the head judge and thus father's superior. Sir Elborn smiles lightly and offers you his hand. And this must be your younger son Jordan, yes? You have your father's eyes, young man. Father bows slightly to grandfather and Sir Elborn, but there is a moment of quiet when Stefan's turn comes. Father reaches out to him awkwardly, expecting an embrace. There is a question in Stefan's eyes as he looks at grandfather. The old man shakes his head almost imperceptibly. We're noblemen oughtn't put our emotions on public display, father, not even after a lengthy separation. Oh, what a cunt. There is no embrace. Instead, Stefan nods to father curtly. He responds in kind, his face devoid of emotion. After the greeting, you proceed to the sitting room. Elborn is the first to enter. He kisses mother's hand and Gloria's too, and tussles Nathan's hair after he sees him hiding by the table. Grandfather acknowledges them with glum nod. Greetings, Lydia Brante. I remember you were kind to me when I was but a child, and you must be Nathan. You could barely walk when I saw you last. Your elder brother ignores Gloria completely, not even a greeting. You proceed to the dining room in a dignified manner and take your seats. The dishes smell delicious, but they merely punctuate the overwhelming tension at the table. Elborn is the only one with a friendly smile on his face. This dinner is splendid, Lydia. Did you choose the dishes yourself? You have a truly refined palate. It warms my heart to know Stefan spent his early years with you. Womanly care always does a child good, no matter the estate. He seems quite nice. Your fork freezes in the air halfway to your mouth. You expect many things from a noble of the sword, but words of praise for a low-born woman are not one of them. You cast a glance at grandfather. He looks like he's about to choke on those words. It would do my grandson more good to stay at boarding school among his equals. Please, Gregor, parenting is no less important. Nothing can replace a mother's love, I cannot deny it. It saddens me greatly that my late sister could not have been there to raise Stefan, but there was still a family for him, and he was surrounded by love. How could that be bad? It's a good point, actually. We have to remember, Stefan's mother did die, you know. Lydia isn't his mom, so I'm not justifying a lot of his actions, but he's had a hard time himself. And besides, his father was by his side all the while. A father's example is always the best. After all, Robert and the judges ranked the same way you did. Your grandson will surely follow in your footsteps. And who knows, perhaps even the younger men of the Brante family will contribute to the... You clumsy low-born cretin! Everybody is startled by the sudden outburst. Grandfather's face turns red. He is glaring at a young lady servant holding a pitcher over a glass. Stefan is sitting right next to her, dabbing a napkin on a fresh stain of his jacket. Begone this instant! The lady servant runs away, leaving the pitcher on a small table by the door. After a quiet moment, Elborn smiles again. It appears the servants have left us, yet dinner is far from over. Worry not, uncle. There are enough commoners at this table to serve us with food and drink. Stefan glances at Gloria across the table. She is sitting right next to you. She shirks down and hunches over his gaze. Father furrows his brows. Mother covers her mouth with trembling hands. Grandfather sneers. Stefan's gaze does not move. The silence lasts far too long. Then she starts to rise from her chair. If the Brante gentleman so wish it. Your hands clench into fists under the table. How can he bring himself to humiliate his own family, his own mother and sister like this? It is all grandfather's doing. Stefan could not bring himself to embrace father without his permission, and yet they are noblemen and they have the right to act this way. If there is any way this dinner can become even more unbearable, you do not want to see it. So we could insult our brother, which is ingenuity up, and give us bad blood with Stefan, but increase our relationship with Gloria. Make small talk, which nobility is up and Gregor Brante is up, or join Gloria in her plight, which is Gloria up and willpower up. I'm actually quite surprised we don't get a unity bonus or something for that. So basically we can ingenuity or nobility. We could make small talk and increase our relationship with our grandfather. But I'm going to join Gloria in her plight, plus the willpower is pretty awesome as well. You rise from the table and help your sister wait on your family. We are a lowborn, we'll serve them as well. You deliberate for a moment, then take your napkin off your lap and rise to join Gloria. A moment later, you hear the sound of another chair moving. Your mother joins you. The three of you now refill glasses, serve food, and clear away dirty dishes. Sir Elborn tries to make small talk with Father, but in vain, so he focuses his attention on Grandfather and Stefan. Grandfather is pleased to inform him of Stefan's achievements at the boarding school, especially his exemplary sword-fighting skills. He constantly stresses the importance of your elder brother for the future of the family. You listen to him dispassionately as you continue serving new dishes to the table. As you wait at the nobleman's table, you, your sister and mother never bump into each other. Your labour is impeccable. Grandfather could not have found fault with it even if he tried. So Gloria's gone up, she's sympathetic, which is good. Your shoulders and back are aching, but being a manservant inside your own house hurts even more. When the guests finally leave, Mother and Gloria embrace you with relief. You did not neglect your relatives and share their humiliation. You did not neglect your relatives and shared their humiliation, and the composure that you have shown gave you new strength. Good boost for willpower. We don't need nobility or ingenuity for the priest path, so willpower is better, I think, in this instance. 1129. 11 years old. Let's do this and then we'll finish up. A dropped handkerchief. Hot, dry wind sweeps through the city from the barren lands around it. The noble residents of Anisot prefer to remain in their chambers, while the commoners huddle in tents or in the shade of the silver tree. You are on an errand right now. Your father wrote a letter to a noble acquaintance and you are to deliver it. Tomas, the boy down the street, is tagging along. The two of you are inseparable now. The errand is an easy one, so you decide to take this opportunity to loiter around the part of Anisot where the nobles live. So here you are in the middle of the city square, resting on the ancient brickwork by the old fountain in the merciful shade of the gargantuan silver tree. Tomas is by your side, lazily slouching on the edge of the fountain's basin. It's a hard life for commoners like you and me. Either you break your back in a workshop day and night, hoping somebody will buy your goods someday, or you become a manservant to some noble. You never get a chance to enjoy life. This is our lot, you remind him. We work and endure and suffer, but Tomas waves your words away. Yeah, I know all that already. Mother keeps drilling that stuff into me. We must be humble, our strength is patience and persistence, so yeah, I say, but I want to make my fortune no matter what. So how ain't that living by my lot, I ask you? But the lots, they ain't easy. Let's take you for example, Brante. Your father's a nobleman, but even if that didn't make you one. Just look at your hands. You never had to work as hard as me, but we have the same lot, so we're supposed to suffer the same. Or look at your father. He's a judge. He toils at the prefecture day and night doing his judging, and he's a noble. I ain't never seen an Arcanian work as hard as he does. You shrug. The Arcanians are a different race. The books say they were born to rule over humans. They are never commoners, always nobles of the sword by birth. They founded the empire after subduing all the human kingdoms of the continent. Humans will never be their equals. Arcanians are always better, smarter, stronger, and their skin is a noble shade of blue. If the books are to be believed, of course, you have never seen one yourself. Your idle chatter is suddenly interrupted by a rugged-looking guardsman dressed in black and green. He chases you away from the fountain. Common rabble like you have no place here. You hear the clattering of hooves and wheels against the cobblestones and see flags bearing a coat of arms, a sable serpent on a field of vert. It makes you squirm. It's the Archduke's coat of arms, the Melanindas dynasty, the cunts who ran us over. The carriage door opens, revealing a young lady in a luxurious dress. You cannot look away from her. Those dainty shoulders suggested, but not revealed by the cut of her dress, her black hair cascading over them. Of course we know who this is. Her stately, slim silhouette, her pouty lips and prim nose, and those eyes, dark like the night sky. The way she moves, fluidly, gracefully, and most incredible of all, her skin glows an azure blue. She is a masterpiece given life. She is an Arcanian. Lady Octavia Spence, our girlfriend in the noble path. Clear the way for me. The Melanindas guardsmen work quickly to clear the way to the fountain for the Arcanian lady. The searing sun dances on her skin in bizarre patterns. With one elegant motion she reveals a handkerchief, then leans over the basin and wipes her head and neck with its cool water. Well, I'll be. That's Octavia Melanindas, our Archduke's own daughter. The Arcanian turns away and proceeds gracefully back to her carriage. You see something slip out of her hand and fall onto the cobblestones right next to you. Her handkerchief. It's right there by your feet. Intricate craftsmanship, expensive worn fabric. delicately decorated with emerald filigree. Your heart skips a beat. Will you dare draw the beautiful Arcne's attention in order to return her lost possession, or would you rather not attempt to cross the chasm between you? So we can keep it as a momentum, which gives us willpower again. Stash the trophy, which gives us willpower and relationship with Tomas. I'll give her the handkerchief, which gives us matters of the heart, takes away some willpower, and she remembers us. To be honest, I actually wasn't going to go with the first one because I thought the other two would give us better stats, but this is just willpower. And relationship with Tomas doesn't really play a big part. At least I don't think it has so far. In both of these, this gives us more willpower. This is only really useful in the nobleman path. Let's keep the handkerchief as a memento. You watch the Arcane lady depart, trying to burn her every movement into your memory. And it's always good having extra willpower. You carefully observe Lady Octavia as she leaves. Her delicate figure moves through the square like a walking dream, her elegant hands gliding through the air, her hair flowing in the light breeze. Your eyes watch all of her. She returns to the carriage, leaning on a guardsman's shoulder as she gracefully climbs back inside. The soft handkerchief feels warm in your hand. You fold it carefully and hide it in your pocket. The carriage draws away, marked by the thudding rhythm of hooves. Until that day, you associated malandastinacy with nothing but indifferent cruelty. But now your breast pocket holds the proof of yet another quality they possess: beauty. So we're 20, which is really good. I mean, that's 6 actions we can do. I think that will come in handy later on. Another year passes, 1130, 12 years of age. Year 1130, spring, the quorum decree. 12 years old now, you overhear an important conversation. It is a spring night and Mother has just sent everyone to bed. You walk past Father's study and hear voices coming from beyond the door. Grandfather is yelling and Father is replying quietly. The elder Brante men are fighting, arguing about the place of the commoners in the city. You sneak outside to avoid Mother's attention and hide next to the open window of the study. Perhaps they'll mention you too. That low-life idiot had the gall to pay me a visit and beg me for some service. He had the insolence to ask me outright. He thought I was going to support his claim for the chairman's set on the lesser quorum. How dare he? Father, please. Mayor Egmont may be low-born, but he carries a lot of clout in Magra. He owns 5 iron mines. A friend like him could be quite useful. Should he become chairman of the lesser quorum? I don't give a damn who this Egmont is, Robert. What he is, however, is a low-born. His lot is humility and obedience. The likes of him can never rule anything. They're nothing but a flock of sheep that need a firm, noble hand to guide them. I wasted so many years trying to quash the quorum decree, but that accursed Cornelius Tempest did everything in his power to make the Emperor sign that pathetic screed. And now even lowlifes can wield power. True power, Robert. Just the right to discuss the size of the Archduke's tax, nothing more. This is only the beginning. What's next? Are they going to arm the lowlifes now? Make them into judges? If the Empire rejects the foundations and the lots, the entire edifice will crumble. Bah, who am I telling this to? It is already crumbling, and you, my son and heir, are a harbinger of its destruction. Father, I'm begging you, I do not wish to marry a 3rd time. Lydia is a good wife and a dutiful mother to my children. If you would only allow her to, I will not allow them anything. Neither Egmont nor that freeloading wench of yours. What will you want me to do next? Live by the laws of the lowborn? I can already see where this is going, and I'd rather run my own sword through my gut than live in a country where nobles and lowlives share the same rights. My only dream is to see the name of Brante in the Blue Book, but that dream will never come true. They will never call me Venerable El Brante, and it's all because of this marriage of yours. My only hope now is to hear Stefan addressed in such a manner one day. Thank the twins I didn't let you ruin the boy. He's about to grow up a true nobleman. His children will bear the name of El Brante. You have 2 more grandsons. Those spineless milksops from the common lot, they're incapable of anything. The best your middle son could do is sneak onto the Imperial College and get ennobled by the mantle, although I have grave doubts even about that. As for that downtrodden Nathan, I have no hopes for him whatsoever. You hear Grandfather's heavy footsteps, the thudding of his cane and the slamming of the door. It's time to sneak back home before you're discovered. So power is increasing for the commoners, moving away from the nobility, which is good, I think. School begins year 1130. You start studying at the school of Sir Tibor and begin to master the sciences. So, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know how you're feeling with the decisions, which you've chosen differently, and what you expect to happen in the future. So, I'll see you all in the next video. Take care and have a good day.